Good afternoon, everybody. I hope y'all having a good day so far. You know, I'm not there, but I'm there. Anyways, my name's Danny Izaza, and I'm with.
Casey Lattimore, y'all know what's going on. Mr. Mingy's 102 class. I'll be in there. See? Okay.
Today, we're going to discuss Blue Lives Matter versus Black Lives Matter. So, let's get started.
I'm talking to you guys about the Black Lives Matter, and I'm going to start off with how it started. With the article, Which Black Lives Matter by Xerxes Mendez, it states how the Black Lives Matter movement was started by 3 women, Patrisse Cullors, Alicia Garza, and Opal Tometi. And basically, the Black Lives Matter movement was basically intended for women and groups of queer and non-conforming people of color. But
Black Lives Matter offers answers to the why. It offers a new vision for young black girls around the world that we deserve to be fought for, that we deserve to call on local governments to show up for us.
But this grassroots type of group basically grew from the Trayvon Martin shooting that happened a few years back in the state of Florida. And this gave a view of black liberation and a big help with the inequalities of others in the black community. So I feel like that's a great way to get a start for different things that happen in the U.S. Misconceptions. From the article Black Lives Matter by Alex Altman, people view the Black Lives Matter movement as the modern day Black Panther Party. Not exactly sure why, but they feel as it's not as radical as it was before, but holding protests and marches do gain skeptical views from outsiders that aren't exactly black or involved with the Black Lives Matter movement. Communities also give a lot of negative feedback with protests and marches because they feel having children or others around viewing this, it will be a negative impact to their community. So I feel like that's what happens. There was also a march a while back when Trump was running for his presidency. Excuse me. Downtown Greenville, there were some people that left class from high school around the Greenville County area. They actually came downtown Greenville and walked for their opinions and what they felt was right to be done here in Greenville County. So why is this important? The article don't let them kill you on some dirty roadway survival, entitled violence, and the culture of modern America by Caitlin Lynch. It shows that Black Lives Matter is important, and it advocated for minorities that are too scared to stand up for themselves due to the stereotypes they have against them. So I mean, a lot of black people now are not really big on speaking what they feel is going on in society. They usually look towards somebody who's actually wanting to speak and go off of that. So yeah, I feel like it's pretty nice to know Black Lives Matter is actually meaning something, but you know, just need to get everybody's word out. Also, there's some videos that should be showing soon. Okay. Danny has something to testify about that.
It starts here. So throughout the course of like preparing for this project and doing research and reading articles, we were able to contact 3 officers, and I was able to interview them before I was injured. And one of the officers, they've all asked to stay anonymous, but this officer is from the Spartanburg Police Department, and he is an African American officer. And this is a quote. I interviewed him. I asked him how he felt about both Blue Lives and Black Lives Matter, and he had a very strong opinion towards both due to the fact that he's not only an officer, but he is also part of the African American community. So this is part of what he told me. I'm just going to read it to you guys so that it's more exact. As a black officer, I am put in a tough situation many times. We all are. But, however, being a part of the African American community, many times I'm told that I'm not black enough, or how could I go against my own people? I see both sides. Both sides are right in my opinion. Black Lives Matter is correct because there are many problems that are faced, and many officers do not know how to handle them, or they handle them the incorrect way. Not all cops are good, but no one hates a bad cop more than a good one. Going on the other hand, Blue Lives Matters is also correct because we are made to make split-second decisions, and it's hard. We don't want to hurt anyone, no matter their gender, race, sex, or anything. So it's hard when we are targeted for another officer's wrongdoing.
Today, Black Lives Matter has spread all over the country and different places around North America. And they continue to influence people today. Actually, there is one location in Ontario, Canada. So, if you feel like going up to Canada, you will see a Black Lives Matter group up there. So, it's cool if you look up things like that for the Black Lives Matter movement. While there are still police shootings and police brutality that go on today, the Black Lives Matter will still be in the community trying to help and doing the best of their abilities to make sure people's voices are heard and that all these injustices end. So, yeah, thanks.
Moving on to Blue Lives. Blue Lives Matter started December 20th of 2014 is when the organization officially started. And it was originally a response to Black Lives Matter and their movement. And the cause of it starting was due to 2 homicides in Brooklyn, New York, against 2 officers, Rafael Ramos and Lujin Liu. They were shot in protest of Black Lives Matter, and that's when the uprising of Blue Lives Matter began.
Hello, my name is Randy Sutton. I'm a retired police lieutenant, the author of A Cop's Life, and the national spokesman for Blue Lives Matter. How many more cops have to die? How many more have to be shot, stabbed, or beaten? How many more widows must be handed the flag along with whispered platitudes as the body of their loved one is lowered into the ground, gone forever? How many more catastrophically injured officers will it take for the American law enforcement leadership and law enforcement community to say, we have had enough?
With Blue Lives Matter, there's a lot of misconceptions, which is our second point. And one of the biggest misconceptions is that the Blue Lives Matter organization and group does not care about Black lives or Black Lives Matter movement. And many officers across the country have made it clear that that is incorrect, that they care just as much about a Black life than a white life, a Latin life, anybody. And it's often misconcepted that because they started this organization in response to Black Lives Matter, that they think that they're superior or that they don't care about minorities, especially Black lives. And that's incorrect. They care just as much. They just want to point out that their lives matter as well. Another misconception is that they think that they're superior, that officers think that they're superior. And after speaking with many officers and watching many documentaries and things like that, many officers have stated that they are aware that they have a badge and they're aware that they have a gun, but that they don't believe that they're superior than anybody else because they have to follow the law just as anybody else. And the third biggest misconception was that officers who are found guilty or maybe not guilty of a situation where they had to pull their gun out and they had to shoot are always covered, and that's incorrect. Many times in the news, it comes out that an officer that killed somebody or shot somebody gets off with a clean slate, but many times it's incorrect. They are discharged, honorably discharged, they'd have unpaid leave. Everything they do have consequences. All actions have consequences. And sometimes it's not shown in the media or the news, but officers that do take those harsh or sometimes you can't really understand decisions they make so quickly, they do have consequences. Why it's important. That's our third point for today. Blue Lives Matter is very important, and before I kind of start explaining it, I have two quotes I'm going to read for you from two different police officers that I was able to interview for this assignment. The first officer is from the Greer Police Department, and when he was asked what he thought about Blue Lives Matter, part of his response was, "Blue Lives Matter because we are taken for granted. We are seen as the bad guys, but no one ever wants to put themselves in our shoes and see what we go through. It is hard making those tough decisions in 0.2 seconds." The second officer I interviewed was from the Greenville Police Department, and she said, "We aren't saying that our lives, blue lives, are more valuable, but we are saying we exist too. We understand things in other places may happen, but no one hates a bad cop more than a good one. We try so hard here to be good cops and get some people won't like us just because we wear a badge. And we understand that and we respect that. But that doesn't mean we want to harm others, because we don't. All we are saying is that our lives matter as well, and that the saying 1 eye for an eye shouldn't be used if one of those eyes were innocent." Blue Lives Matter is very important. Casey and I have researched, we have read articles, watched documentaries, interviewed people, gone the full 9 yards, and blue lives are very important. And there's so many reasons they try to make a difference in the community. Officers don't only pull over people, give tickets. They're not just a SWAT team. They're officers who genuinely care for the community, that go out into the community and try to show the good that they're doing and try to give that positive insight. There are officers, and there's multiple videos out there. There's multiple officers that go out and play sports with kids in communities. They take things to help others. Officers just want to give back to the community and help. And it's very important because the news and the media only shows the bad side, but they don't show the good. It's really quick to point fingers and to blame an officer, but nobody ever puts themselves in their situation. Nobody ever sits down and says, well, what were they thinking? What were they going through at that moment? And many times when you sit down and you have a conversation with a police officer, you see how big their heart is and how much they just want to help. The majority of the officers in the United States do want the justice system to work fairly, and that's what their goal is, and that's what they're working for, and that's what they're doing. But it's hard for people to see that when the news and the media only shows the negative.
Norman makes frequent stops in black communities to bring food, drinks, and gifts to show not only that he cares, but so do the police. When I watch these videos, when you pull up to a house, these kids just go nuts. They're like, Officer Norman, Officer Norman. I mean, how important is that for these kids so young have that seed planted?
It's so valuable to know that hundreds of kids all over North Little Rock, they're awaiting your arrival. Kind of like the ice cream truck in the summertime. I mean, really, you know.
Norman wanted to be a cop to pursue his passion, to change lives for the better.
When you step out of that police car, feet to the ground, you're making a difference automatically.
When asked a question that seemed so complicated, Norman responded with an answer that made a change seem possible. Is there Tommy Norman way to making all this right, or is just not that simple?
It all goes back to relationships, DJ. You have to, you know, I can repeat it day after day after day, but you have to form relationships. And when that happens, you're really not Officer Norman anymore. You're more of Uncle Tommy.
Our last point is where the Blue Lives Matter is now. Blue Lives Matter has grown a lot. The hiring system for police departments all over the country has become stricter because officers don't want to just be hired because they can pull somebody over. But you also want to hire someone who has a good heart, good integrity, and has passion for what they're doing. Blue Lives Matter is going more into the community. They're building more relationships because at the end of the day, it's all about building those relationships, as many officers say. So next time you see an officer, take the time to say hello. Take this time to get to know them and kind of see more what their life is like and what their daily life is like. Because at the end of the day, they're there to help their community and they're there for you.